And we're back. Today we're going to be simplifying fractions. Simplifying fractions, as you can see by looking at the board. There are 3 or 9 or 27 steps. 3 or 9 or 27 steps to simplify fractions. You will get some notes that you can put in your journal after I do some examples. So you don't need your journal yet. You'll need it in a few, but not yet. Now all you need is your attention focused on your teacher. That is me, your teacher. And you are my students. I'm your teacher, you're my students. See how that works? The steps are: 1, you're going to find the greatest common factor for the numerator and denominator. Now we've been studying greatest common factor for, 37 weeks, I think. More or less, estimating around that. So that ought to be easy. Also, you have a foldable in your journal that says how to find the greatest common factor. Also, you've picked the greatest common booger. I don't know, something like that.
That's gross.
I know, right? I didn't do it, you did. The second step. You're going to divide both your numerator and denominator. And denominator by denominator by the greatest common factor. You're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. Little hint: if the greatest common factor is 1, then your fraction is already simplified. Alright. And before I start going over some of these, please remember, we do have a test tomorrow. I've gone over the first 5 questions on the tube of you. Question 7, I'm telling you right now, question 7 is how many numbers between 1 and 100 are prime, and what are they? So you have that in your journal. Well, you should. If it's not in your journal, you better get it in there by tomorrow, because I really can't help you if you fail it, and then you're sad, and everybody's sad except for Mr. McMurdo. He's not sad, because he really did more than he has to do to help you be successful. Alright, write each fraction in simplest form. So let's look at a couple of examples. If we have the fraction 8/12, step 1 says find the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator. So I'm going to list my factors of 8 and 12. I will tell you, for those of you not writing on your desk right now, I will tell you that using your divisibility rules are very helpful when you're finding the factors of numbers. Now, every number, 1 in itself, is a factor. And then I just kind of like to move up from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So does 2 go into 8?
Yes.
Why, yes it does. Because 8 is an even number. And our divisibility rules say that 2 goes into every even number. Shina, how many times does 2 go into 8? Good, 4. Because 2 times 4 is 8. Does 3 go into 8? No, because the sum of the digits, 8 plus nothing else is 8. The divisibility rule for 3 says if the sum of the digits is a multiple of 9, then 3 will go into it. 8 is not a multiple of 9. Are there any others, Reagan? No, they're not. Reagan's right. The factors for 12, now we already know we start with 1 and 12. Let's ask Kristen, sorry. Is 2 a factor of 12?
Yes.
Yes, because 12 is an even number. So how many times does 2 go into 12? 6. 6. Addie, is 3 a factor of 12?
No.
Yes, because 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 is a multiple of 3. So 3 times what, Addie?
4.
4. 3 times 4 is 12. We have found all of the factors. Thank you to everyone who has helped me. Now, Ricky, what do they have in common?
The 1.
They both have a 1 in common.
4 and 2.
They both have a 2 in common. They both have a 4 in common. So, Mia, what is the greatest common factor?
4.
The greatest common factor is indeed 4. So we've done step 1. We have found the greatest common factor for the numerator and the denominator. Step 2 says divide both the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. So I'm going to divide both of these by 4. And Natalie, what is 8 divided by 4? 2. And Natalie, what is 12 divided by 4? 3. So we have simplified 8/12 down to 2/3. Those fractions have the exact same value. If you change them, to decimals, both of those would have the exact same value. Both of those would have a value of 67%, or 6666666666666%. It would just keep going. So 66.66%. I don't know, I'll have to fix this in a minute, okay? I don't know what happened.
You broke it.
It happens sometimes.
What happened to it?
All right.
It fell off the minute.
All right, so let's do one more example. And then I'm going to allow you to do some in your journal. And then we'll get a move on. Let's take the fraction 15/18. Step 1 tells us to find the greatest common factor for 15 and 18. Nate, tell us the factors of 15.
Me?
Are you Nate?
Who's Nate?
Nathan.
Big Nathan.
5 and 3.
5.
We know that because it ends in a 5, which means it's divisible by 5. And the sum of the digits is 6. And 6 is a multiple of 3, so we know it's divisible by 3. What else? 15 and 1.
And that's all.
What else? Excellent. That is all. 18. Cora, Tell me the factors of 18, please. 1 and 18. 3 and 6. Because the sum of the digits is 9. And 9 is a multiple of 3, which tells us it's divisible by 3. Shh, she's not done. 2 and 9. We know that because it's an even number, so it's divisible by 2. The sum of the digits is 9, which makes it divisible by 9. Let's go with not Kimberly. Not Kimberly. What are the common factors? They have 1, and please stop rolling that pencil or I'm going to be driven insane. 3. And that is it. So Kimberly, what is my greatest common factor? 3. Step 2 says divide both numerator and denominator by your greatest common factor. So, Kayla, what is 15 divided by 3? I can go here. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And Kayla, what is 18 divided by 3? 6. Because 18 divided by 3 is 6. So now 15 eighteenths is equivalent to 5/6, the same value. If we changed both of those to a percent, it would equal 83.33333333, and the 3 would go on forever. Mia, you have a question. Never mind your question. So your next step is I'm going to have each of you glue this in your journal, writing down in your table of contents, simplifying fractions, and then we'll do some practice ones on that same page or the next page, and you will get to practice on your own and have the notes in your journal. So please get your journal out now whilst I pause the video. And we're back. These students in my class have just glued in their steps for simplifying fractions. Megan asked me a wonderful question. She wants to know, why do we need to know this? Well, Megan, when we start adding and subtracting fractions, your answers are going to have to be in simplest form. If it were multiple choice and you added it and you got 12/16, that answer would not be there. And then if you don't know how to simplify, you would just choose one that's close to it, and it would make me mad. And you don't want to make me mad. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fraction up. You're going to simplify that fraction, and then we'll go over that fraction. Question, not Kimberly?
No.
Awesome. Let's go with 17/34. Follow the 3 steps. Simplify the fraction. If you're at home, stop the video and go ahead and do that. And we're back. And we're back. They can't hear, so they keep saying what. Step 1 tells us to find the greatest common factor of the numerator and the denominator. Our divisibility rules are very handy in this case, as is our prime number chart. We know because we look at our prime number chart that 17 is prime. So the only 2 factors of 17 are 1 and 17. We know, obviously, that 1 and 34 are factors of 34. 34 is an even number. And what is a factor of every even number? 2 is a factor of every even number. So 2 times what gives me 34, Jake? 2 times 34 gives, or 2 times what gives me 34, Jake? If you need to, you can divide 2 into 34. Shh, put your hands down. I call Jake. Have faith in him, please. He's a smart young man. Not 12. 2 times 12 is 24. Good. 2 and 17. Divisibility rule would have helped you with this, because if somebody didn't yell out the answer over on this side of the room, probably some of his group would have put 1 as the greatest common factor instead of looking at it as divisible by 2. But that person who just tells everybody the answer hates you guys, because he doesn't care if you learn it. He just wants to show you how intelligent he is. Right? All right. So my greatest... My greatest common factor is 17. Step 2 says divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, which is 17. Victoria, what is 17 divided by 17?
1.
Victoria, what is 34 divided by 17? 2. Therefore, 17 34ths is equivalent to 1/2. If you change that to a percent, you would get 50%. You would get 50%. Yes. Questions on this particular problem? I will put another problem up. You will do it on that same page that you glued your work in, so that you can see how it's done, and you have examples in your journal so that you can try to be as smart as those smart kids to yell out the answers and stuff. Let's do...
Yeah, Logan. Logan, who hates everybody in this class?
Please stop. I'm going to put 2 of them up here. And you solve them both. 15/18ths. Can we do 15/18ths?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, we did that.
Well, I'm not going to do 15/18ths then. Let's do 15/20ths. And 2/5. I want you to do both of those. I'll start the video in a moment. Those of you watching at home, please pause the video. And then you'll be able to resume the video after you've solved both of these. And then you'll see how well you have done.
How well the class is.
And we're back. And we're back. So, we're going to go over 15/20ths first. We are going to go over 15/20ths first. Yes, Nick, I will give you an opportunity to practice this. Probably for many of the next weeks as we continue to work with fractions. With fractions. All right, Gunnar, we have the fraction 15/20ths. What is my first step?
Find the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator.
Good. I'm going to find the greatest common factor for 15 and 20. Thank you very much, Gunnar. Alec, what are the factors of 15?
1, 15, 5, and 3.
Excellent. Excellent. Hannah, What are the factors of 20? 25. All right. Let's call on Ava. What do they have in common?
They have 1 in common and they have 5 in common.
Anything else, Ava?
No.
You're sure? Yes, good. So, Tatum, what is my greatest common factor?
5.
5. I divide both my numerator and denominator by 5. Let's call Ethan. What is 15 divided by 5?
3.
3. And Ethan, what is 20 divided by 5?
4.
4. So this tells me that 15/20 is equivalent to 3/4. If I change them both to percents, that would they both equal 75%. They would both equal 75%. Let's look at the other one. Then I'm going to give a special one to just a special student. So the other one,
I'm special. I brought you a milkshake this year.
the other one is 2/5. The other one is 2/5. Shina, what is step 1?
Find the numerator and denominator.
So I'm finding the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator. Oh, Jake, what are the factors of 2? The factors of 5, Jake?
1 and 5.
1 and 5. Ricky, what is the greatest common factor? 1. The greatest common factor is 1. Which, step 3 says, if the greatest common factor is 1, that fraction is already in simplest form. Now I'm going to give a special problem to a special person, and he may not move on and do anything else until he simplifies the following fraction.
I can do this one. I brought you a milkshake. I want to do it.
So my special student, who knows who he is, who likes to yell out answers, just looking, he's doing this like, wonder if he must be a student on the ceiling, because I'm just going to look up like I'm looking for who it is. Boom! Shakalaka! Peace out! God bless! Love ya! Do something kind!